Oh, focus, come on, focus, focus. It's out of focus. Oh no, I might have broke the focus. Merry Christmas! Just kidding. I do need to put that away. But by the time you guys see this video, it will be probably like a month overdue. I haven't been planning on uploading anything just because I got injured, somewhat recently. And I didn't really feel like posting anything because I knew I wouldn't have footage after that. But anyway, this video here, I'll explain a little bit more in the training update, but I did have a slight injury that I had to work through. Just a reminder for those of you guys who are coming back to my channel, haven't seen me post in a little while, the new format is basically this. Every video I'm going to have some sort of tutorial or informational sections that's going to be coming up right after this portion. I'm going to have a training update for myself, so if you're interested in following my training, that'll be there too. And then the last portion will always be kind of some random talk about whatever's on my mind at the moment. So, here we go. Hey! Okay, Jose, honest evaluation of your coaching experience so far.
I'm fucking loving it, dude. Like, not only am I learning a lot, but I'm also getting lean as fuck. Quit bullshitting. I'm not kissing ass.
Did you ask her what day she's available, Jose?
Subscribe on YouTube.
Hey, yeah, tell her you love her. Tell her you love her on YouTube.
If this video gets 10,000 likes, I'm gonna ask her
10,000 likes?
If the video gets 1 million likes, she's gonna say yes.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so like that's what we're looking at. A lot of people break the floor there. They struggle with the rest of their lift. So Jose, break the floor like that. And like Jose's like gotten good enough that he's just correcting the middle of it. Yeah, but the issue that we're talking about is basically when people, they break the floor in their deadlift, that bar kind of has that leverage in front of them because it's in front of your center of balance. It's gonna pull your shoulders forward, and because of that, your hips gonna kind of rise like this. So shoulders come forward, hips come up. And it's a very common problem, so I'm gonna show you a drill that we can use to hopefully at least work on that, if not fix it. All right, so this drill, it's called a box or chair deadlift. This is something we got from actually West Side of all places. But I haven't seen very many good video demos, so I'm gonna try to explain this here. Basically what you want, get a bench, a box, a chair, whatever you can. Something that's gonna stop your hips right at the height that you would break the floor anyway. You don't want it lower than that, you don't want it higher than that, you want it to be pretty precise. So we've got, you know, that bench on top of the platform with a plate on top of that to get a little bit of additional height. And then Jose, get into the starting position. So you're gonna get down to your starting position where you'd break the floor from generally. You'll shove your hips in, and as you do that, your butt will touch the plates. So there's position one, and then you're gonna go from there, pull your shoulders all the way back till they're over your shoulders. Notice how right here, Jose, if you can just hold that for a sec, right here the bar is pulling real hard back into his shins, his torso is very upright, his shoulders are actually behind the bar. From this position, we're gonna go all the way up, stand up very carefully, trying to keep your shoulders back behind the bar. Perfect. You wanna go one full speed? So one more time, full speed, this is what it looks like. Hips come down into the plates, butt stays down, shoulders back, and standing up and falling over. Great. But yeah, so try that out if you get a chance, if you have that same issue, which I feel like most people do with their deadlift. And maybe one day you can deadlift like Jose.
But don't fail like me.
Yeah, don't fall over. Jose, how much do you weigh?
156 right now.
And how much do you weigh?
140.
So these two are gonna compete in December against each other.
165.
Anthony's been lifting for a lot longer than Jose. But Jose has been progressing quite fast, and he just ended his diet down today.
Yep. 500?
Deadlift?
No shit. What do you expect, Ben?
Boy, I'm there. You don't need me to shake your hand for that.
Okay. So 500
I'll be there. See you there.
So if you're wondering about the injury thing, basically I had a slight strain in my shoulder. I'm not exactly sure what muscle it was because I was having a really hard time replicating it afterward, but basically what happened is I got lazy / sloppy in a front squat when I was re-racking on my last rep of the set, and something happened with my shoulder that felt kind of weird, and then after that I decided to play badminton, which was a thing that we were doing at the time just for fun, and it was a bad choice. But you know, for the next probably like 3.5 weeks, I had to kind of train around it or like take some time off from regular bench pressing and front squatting. It was all bad, but I think an important note, and the reason why I can confidently say right now that I'm back into normal training and I'm progressing really well again, is that I was mature and disciplined enough to take a step back when I needed to. I feel like so many athletes, so many lifters, powerlifters especially, have this mindset where they have an injury that might not seem significant at first, so they train through it, or they find ways to train around it, or whatever they think. And what ends up happening is that injury never really recovers. And because it doesn't recover, then they now have like these muscular imbalances, or asymmetrical mobility, or whatever their issue might be, or maybe it's just like a nagging injury that comes back over and over again, and it never really leaves. And you accumulate enough of these injuries, and you eventually are out of commission for good. So I think in my head, and what I tell a lot of the people that I coach, is that it's extremely important to be mature enough and disciplined enough to fully recover when you do get injured, no matter how significant or insignificant that injury might seem. But yeah, I mean, all the footage I have in this video, it's just gonna be this bench and then a little bit of the girlfriend deadlifting, which, by the way, she recently hit a really amazing number, which will probably be the next video. And then I did want to tell you guys that I plan on testing my front squat and my bench max in like 9 weeks. I'll be testing with Jose and Anthony, and all the guys at the gym. Should be cool. But for the training stuff, I do apologize. That's all I've got for now. Plenty more training footage in the next video though. And yeah. I'm slightly out of breath because I just ran downstairs to pick up a package from my garage. And it's like 95 degrees outside. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys in the ending portion of this video about this conversation I had with one of the guys I coach. Now, this is a really big cliche, like overused thing about enjoying the work that you do, making sure that you love the journey, not just the results. And I'm not saying I don't agree with that, I do. But the flip side of that, something that people don't really talk about, I don't think, that we had this discussion about was the idea that your work that you're doing, as a reminder, the work that you're doing should be the means to an eventual end, or if not an end, at least an eventual step forward. So that's very vague. I'll explain, kind of giving a couple examples. The first being tracking macros, right? A lot of us getting into fitness, bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever, for the sake of manipulating our body comp, maybe improving our metabolism, we learn how to track macros and track calories and so on, make adjustments. And most of us, or a lot of us, get really, really good at it, right? We get very precise, we get very effective, we're very familiar with our food. I think some people though, they forget, or they kind of just get really good at that for the sake of being good at manipulating their diet and manipulating their metabolism or whatever, without any thought that there is like a next step after that. And I would say for most people, whether you're competing or not, your end goal, if you're getting good at all that stuff, your end goal should be to be so familiar with food, so good at tracking, and doing it for long enough that you actually make enough progress with your metabolism that you can eventually not have to track anymore. In my case, I track like maybe 1 day out of every month, and it's gotten to that point very gradually over time. Like I think I had tracked for like maybe 6 years, probably 4 years extremely precisely, because I was competing in bodybuilding and powerlifting for like a 4-year stretch, and I was extremely competitive. And then after that, less precisely, on and off and so on, as I got more comfortable with the flexibility. But the point is that nowadays I don't really track, and it's because in the course of those 6, 7 years, maybe it was, I had made consistent metabolic progress, got to a point where now my maintenance is in the 4,000s. I couldn't tell you exactly where it is, but it's in the 4,000s for sure. And at that number, I'm definitely comfortable with the amount of food I have. I never feel unsatisfied, and I can pretty much eat whatever I want, within reason. I make healthy food choices for the majority of my day. In fact, the first 2 meals of my day tend to be almost exactly the same thing all the time, and then the last like 1 or 2 meals, depending on how big they are, end up being whatever I feel like. So it's gotten to a point where more or less I can eat whatever I want to, as long as I'm doing so intelligently, with a thought in the back of my head that I am trying to make good choices. And this video is not going to get into the how of how you get there, because that's much more involved and probably a much longer explanation. But it's just a reminder that that is a possibility. It might sound like the holy grail is something that doesn't exist, but it definitely does. And I think that's the goal that most of you should be aiming for. So over time, keep in mind that you're not just getting good at tracking for the sake of getting leaner, or for the sake of eating more food or whatever. You're getting good at tracking with the eventual hope that you don't have to track forever. Now, another really good example of that for any of you out there who are entrepreneurs, business owners, whatever you want to call yourselves, I guess even for those of you who are in college, or working your first job. I think maybe less so in that case, but a lot of people think of their career as like, you work hard in school to get a great degree, and then you get your degree, or maybe go to professional school, get a good job that pays you a good salary, you work really hard at your job, and maybe you enjoy it a lot if you're lucky, and then you make a bunch of money, save some of it, you buy a house, you have kids and so on, whatever you do, right? And along the way, of course, you're enjoying the ride, but you're still working like indefinitely until you're what, 60, maybe 65, maybe 70 if you're not lucky. You work so long so that you eventually can retire, but by the time you retire and you have all this money saved up and all this time to go travel and do the things you want to do, you don't have the youth or the health to really enjoy it. I think that's silly. It's silly to be in that position, because it's like you wasted your entire life, right? So what I would encourage you guys to remember in the realm of like your career is that your career is also a means to an eventual end. That end, in my head at least right now, being financial freedom. Freedom just meaning that like you have enough money coming in that you can afford to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. And to be fair, like I'm not really close to being there yet. I've got a long ways to go before I'm there, but like my goal in my head now, given what I currently know and given what I think my life trajectory looks like, is by the time I'm 30, which is 6-7 years from now, by the time I'm 30, I would like to be financially free, where like I can work maybe 10-15 hours a week and the rest of my income is passive, and I'll be okay and I'll be set. And if I can make that happen, right, then I would have the rest of my life to enjoy the people that I love and to do the things that I love. And wouldn't that be a dream, right? And I think that people tend to forget, because it's like indoctrinated to us, or I don't know, it's just like hammered into our heads that we have to just work forever, because that's how it was for our parents and their parents and so on. And while that is extremely admirable that people do that and that they can do that, if you don't have to do that, you shouldn't, right? Just like going back to the macro example, if you don't have to track to have a decent result, why would you? Why would you work harder than you have to? Why would you cause yourself more stress than you have to? Same thing when it comes to your career. I'm not saying I'm quitting coaching or anything. I think even when I get to 30, if everything goes well and I'm just working part-time, that part-time work will be coaching, absolutely 100%. Between now and then, yeah, I think that it is kind of time to work, and for me, I should try to enjoy that work as much as I can, but I do want to keep in mind that I'm working really hard right now. I'm working as much as I can right now to hopefully get to a point where I don't have to work anymore. At least not nearly as hard, not nearly as much. But yeah, like I said, just with the macro thing, I can't tell you how to get there, because I feel like that would be a much longer explanation and very situation dependent. But I did just want to give you guys, or plant the seed in your head and maybe give you a little bit of a reminder that the work you're doing, don't just enjoy it. Like, do that for sure, but also remember that you're trying to get somewhere else eventually. You're trying to get to the next level eventually. And that might have just been a load of bullshit, I don't know. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Oh, one more thing, bonus clip at the end here if you watched this far. Me and Christine, not so much her, but like I am a fan of competitive shooting. I can't really justify the cost of shooting competitively. I do shoot regularly, but not in competition. And we got to my parents' house one day. We found one of my old like airsoft guns, and we set up a course of fire in my dad's backyard, and we ran through it, right? After a few practice runs, we decided that, to be fair, I would give her like a 5-second handicap. And you'll see my run first, right? My run through the course first, and then you'll see her run right after that with my run overlaid, including the 5-second handicap. On the second clip though, when she's running through it, my clip starts exactly 5 seconds after her time started. And if you guys watch this far and you care to watch that section, let me know who you think won. But anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Feel free to comment, like, whatever, do what you guys do on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.
Oh. Hanging bottle. Planter. Underneath. Barbecue. Wow, Sprite.
Hit.
Are you sure about that one?
Hit. planter, planter, planter. Hit. Under. Hit. Oh, blazing fast. Hit. Hit. Go, 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 Sprite.